PR Connections Radio presents.
Boy, it is nothing like enjoying the Thanksgiving holidays, eating lots of food. I've been to the gym, 3 times since Thanksgiving, trying to run off some of the stuff that I ate. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to the Crypto and Cash Show. I'm Uncle Dan Everett. I'm over here with my partner, Mr. Brett Jenny, the best realtor in Las Vegas, period. And that man knows some crypto like you would not believe. I thought I knew a little bit. Well, let me tell you what, Brett's on a whole other level. Let me just tell him about some other technology, man. You're amazing is all I can say. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know this show is for educational purposes. We don't sell anything on here. This is entertainment, education, and we are in no way enticing you to get involved or purchase any type of cryptos. Matter of fact, we don't even talk about trading. We just talk about the basics of crypto, what you need to know, what you don't need to know, and what you don't need to do so you don't get ripped off half the time, because there's a lot of scammers out there. And so we're here to educate. Brett, go ahead. How was your weekend, man?
It was good. Had some turkey, and then have you ever been to Gold Spike Trail right outside of Boulder?
I've heard of it.
Gold Spike Hot Springs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, man, it's the real deal. Like, I've gone on a lot of hikes, and I was reading about it. He says you descend over a period of time down 600 feet with a series of ropes.
What?
And I'm like, okay, whatever, right? Man, I'm telling you, it's like the real deal. Like, you're rappelling.
What?
Like no safety, like just these ropes with these knots in it down. It's the real deal, but it's absolutely beautiful. But it's like a real hike. So you got to kind of be able to have some strength and be in shape in the whole 9 yards. But it was cool. It opens up right to the Colorado River.
I assume that you were by yourself.
No, I was with my wife.
She did it too?
Oh yeah, she's in way better shape than me, man. She does like ultra marathons and stuff.
Oh yeah, she
runs like 100-mile races.
What? Holy smokes, that's cool, man.
Well, she hasn't done it in like over a year, but like the race would start at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and she would get done at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
That's crazy.
Like 25 hours. It's crazy. It's crazy. They're a whole different kind of mentality. Running and getting in shape is all good, but her practice runs were like 30 miles.
Well, if she can do that, she can sure put up with you, man.
I put on some probably about 30 that I haven't, or 20 that I haven't lost.
That's nuts. But she can put up with that rope, put up with you at the same time.
Yeah, right. I mean, double thing right there. So yeah, I did that, and then spent some time on the internet and basically learned some custom GPTs. So if anybody kind of last year in November they came out, I'm sure everyone's heard of is ChatGPT.
Yep.
And everybody associates it with AI and all that stuff. And about 2 weeks ago, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they came out with basically a new version where if you pay $20 a month for the Plus subscription, you can basically go in and they have it set up for a platform for you to be able to design your own chat GPTs to do different things.
Really?
So, there's different things. Like I was telling you before, I designed one. It's very simple where you click on the link and you load first of all, you take a picture of the inside of your refrigerator or a picture of the inside of your pantry, whatever it is. You go to the link, you click on it, you load that picture, and it automatically prints out a list of recipes from the food you already have in there from the picture. So it's just something where, like, how many single people out there or single parents need to make a quick and fast meal, and boom, you just take that picture and unload. Just things like that, just simple little things like that. So I've just been designing things like that. It's pretty crazy because for what you can do now, here's the best comparison I can say, which is, have you ever heard a tune or humming a tune or some kind of beat in your head, Dan, of a song before?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So do you know how to play guitar?
No.
So what are you going to do? You hear this whole beat in your head, but there's nothing you can ever really do with it because you can't play guitar.
Right.
Well, now you don't need to know how to play guitar, because now if you have an idea in your head of what you want something to do, like the basic workings of it, there's a platform now where you don't need to know computer code, right? So before I had an idea in my head, well, I had to know computer code, or I had to know whatever that computer language was. And if I didn't know that, then I had to hire somebody, and I had to try to explain to them, like, now I can just sit down on my own time with a basic platform and say, I need you to design a program that goes on da, 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 like this, and then I need it to do that. And it'll start a basic framework, and then I can start adding on to that framework with basic sentences. I don't need to put in Python code. I can just say, I need you to do this, and it does it.
Really?
I'm telling you, it's $20 a month. They could charge $500 a month. I'd pay for it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's the $20 you'll ever spend in your life doing that. Just go to YouTube and watch a few videos on it, man, and you'll be set. It's, you know. And now I met with Majid this morning because I basically got offered a job to be a chat prompt engineer for a couple of different businesses from things like this.
Really? Oh my God.
So
man, you're rocking it. You're rocking it, buddy.
No, it's just, things that can be out there.
Hey there. Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these are all things that just, I was fascinated by it. And then I watched, I think, a video that came up on one of my YouTube things like 3 weeks ago. And I watched it, and it was like an 8-minute video. I was just, wow. You mean I can basically take all those thoughts that I've always had in my head, and I can actually make them into like a working thing now? I mean, you can basically go and design an app, but you don't need to know how to code. Crazy, man.
that is crazy. That is.
The biggest thing you can do wrong with this is underestimate how smart it is.
Really?
Like, you can sit there and be chatting on the same page for like an hour. I want you to do this, do that. Okay, so what do you think about this? And at the end, I can just say, hey, will you please summarize all this and put it into a framework of an online course? Boom. That's all I need to type. It'll take everything. I don't need to go back and say, well, you please take paragraph 1 and then add that on top of it. You don't need to say any of that stuff.
So somebody that's listening in today, we have I'm sure there's some people listening in. We just saw one person. Is that value or what? That's something that you can do, because a lot of people are out there trying to figure out how to do course creation. And that
Zaps, which I like to say it's like a bridge, right? So I create, in a sense, my own homemade app, I guess is a good way of putting it. But if I connect it to the Zap that connects to my Gmail account, it will now automate my emails. It will now put them in priority order. If one is going to conflict and overrun the other, it'll text the other person and let them know. It will be a complete automation of all my emails and my communications.
Wow.
So just something simple like that for yourself, but it's automations like this that you can implement in a million different businesses.
Wow.
Like repetitive tasks that can be automated, and that saves time, that saves money. For example, like another one I created, which is you go to YouTube and basically you enter the YouTube link, and it will take the video and summarize it and put it in bullet points. So you can take a long video, and I can really take the link, load it in there, and within 30 seconds, I have a complete summary of what it is, and it's put in bullet points for me. So I'm able to get an hour's worth of content, an hour's worth of info. I'm able to learn it in 1 minute.
Wow, that's unheard of. That is crazy, man. I've never heard of anything like that. But wow, hey man, so what's going on in the crypto market? Let me excuse myself just for a second. I'll be right back. Go
Yep.
ahead. Let the audience know what's happening with Bitcoin, because there's been some movement in the last 10 days on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And
So Bitcoin went from, it was at, I think, like 30,000 up to 35,000, 36,000. Now it's somewhere around 34, 35,000, something like that. But all the major coins, Ethereum went above 2,100, Chainlink, all the major, probably top 20 cryptos, all of them increased. So that was from basically, in my opinion, a sentiment of a lot of the bad actors are now completely out of the system. They've been dealt with, including Sam Bankman-Fried. And, I mean, he's got to have a sentence, but he's been dealt with. So now all the hedge funds, BlackRock, Fidelity, have all cleared all the hurdles to get regulation to approve them, which should come in about January. So personally, without giving any advice, I think this is probably one of the last times that you're going to be able to get any crypto at this price, because once these ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum kick in, people need to understand that you're now going to have, like, let's take BlackRock. BlackRock hedge fund owns like 60% of the stock market, something like that. So you've got literally trillions of dollars now that will be regulated and approved by the U.S. government that are going to be selling it. But the difference is they're going to be spot, which means that Fidelity or BlackRock, in order for them to make money off Bitcoin, they have to physically buy Bitcoin first. Right? So that's the difference. So now you're going to have major hedge funds that are going to be coming in and buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other major cryptos so that they can sell it. So once you have this regulated market in, then it's a brand new world. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. It's going to have a bull run. It's going to come back down a little bit, back to earth. Where that's going, I don't know. But I just know that all the bad actors and all the hesitation that people kind of had before is gone. The government's on board, because the government basically said we need to get on board, and we're going to lose all these innovators, and we're going to lose this technology to these other countries, and we don't want to do that.
Right. Which was about to happen too.
So they got rid of the bad actors. They realized that they have increased regulation. They've allowed, listen, man, at the end of the day, personally, BlackRock and Fidelity, I think we're like, listen, we need to get these crypto exchanges that have been existing out of the way so that we can come in and have no competition. And they work hand in hand with the government. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what it comes, that's my personal opinion. But regardless, you needed to have some sort of regulation and some sort of major players involved to verify it and give it justification of what people need. People got to understand that we've had retail money for all these years. Retail money for people like you and me, maybe some smaller family offices, something like that. But now, man, you're going to go from something that Bitcoin reached $1 trillion market a couple of years ago. Now you're going to have trillions. Not just it reached $1 trillion. Now you're going to have trillions invested into it. Not to mention, once Chase Bank and Bank of America and these other major players start doing TWAs, which are tokenized assets. And so you can take anything like a painting, a boat, a mansion, a house, whatever it is, anything of value that's an asset, they're going to be switching it over to digitally. So now we've got one coin that represents that exact value, whatever it is. Say your painting was $20,200. Now you've got that coin digitally, it's $20,200. So now you can facilitate it on the blockchain in a million different ways and facilitate your value at a moment's notice and not need anyone's permission because the proof is in the coin, or you wouldn't have the coin, basically.
Right.
So wait till you start having that injected in. And you know what's going to make all that back and forth?
Right. Yeah, crypto is about, we have and that's happening in this January. What, next 2 months from now?
In January probably is when they're going to be approved. I mean, it could be early February. It's coming, right? So that's what I'm saying. Which is, I'm not giving any advice, but if one were inclined to maybe want to be interested in it and pick some up, now would probably be a decent time, given what's going to be coming, which is the bad actors are out of the picture and the big boys with the money are coming into the picture. That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh, some people are going to make a lot of money, man. The people that have been just...
I came from a meeting with Majid this morning, and the guy in 2017 bought $15,000 worth of crypto, and now it's worth like $4 million.
Wow.
Ex-NBA player. Super
That's
smart
what?
business guy. Super smart. What's that?
What did you just say?
Ex-NBA player.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Super smart business guy, man.
Wow.
Super smart business guy.
Ooh, what's that 15,000 going to be like in January or February or March?
Yeah, I don't know. He was like, man, I've made a lot of money. And he's made a lot of money like in car dealerships and just a multitude of, like I said, he's just an overall really good businessman.
What do you say?
What's that?
You mentioned the effect on these exchanges. Do you think these exchanges are going to have to go away?
Well, okay, Binance. You've heard of Binance?
That's the major one
right now. CZ, it's some name I can't pronounce, and everyone just calls him CZ. He basically just agreed to do like a year and a half in prison here in the United States. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
I mean, they had a U.S. part. It was Binance U.S., which was, I guess, separate than Binance. But I don't know. Point being is Binance was set up in China, man, back in like 2015 or 16 or whatever it is. So basically, they said, listen, you were doing crypto without registered here in the United States or facilitated it, allowed it to happen. So, I mean, honestly, he got off easy because I think he's still able to keep Binance worldwide because that has nothing to do with the United States. And it's like, okay, they said do a year and a half and you'll have no more punishment and we won't mess with you anymore. And he still gets to keep full ownership in Binance.
Oh, you can't beat that. That's a great
dude. You give me a year. I'm not saying I want to do it a year and a half in any sort of prison, but a white collar prison for a year and a half, and you get out, you've got the 50 billion waiting for you. I mean,
right.
One might be inclined to think I can do that. I can do a year and a half. So what I'm saying is this. That's another example which he didn't really do anything wrong. It's just listen, I guess there wasn't clear regulation and things in place, and he just went ahead and did it anyways, and then wait for permission, and that's what happens when you do that.
You know what? You know how it works too. If they said a year and a half, it's going to be less time.
Yeah, it'll be around 6 months.
Yeah.
They said, exactly. I think it just came in the news that he can't leave the United States in between when he goes to prison. So, I mean, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh my God. Wow. That's crazy, man. Anyway, for those of you that are listening in, you're in the Crypto and Cash Show, and we got the ultimate expert, Brett Jenny, here. I'm just Dan, Uncle Dan Consulting.com. I'm just a guy that kind of like floats along and tries to help the baby boomer generation figure out how not to get scams. And there's a lot of scammers out there. So our suggestion to you is, before you go jumping into crypto with this good news, you need to do your due diligence. You need to do as much research as possible, because there's a lot of people out there just waiting for you to make a mistake. And if you make that mistake, it could cost you a lot of money. So we don't want that to happen to anybody. So again, there are different courses you can get out there for free. I'm in a program. What is that? Society? I have to look it up. It's the Society of Crypto. They have all these courses. Remember you were talking about putting out together some courses, and I was working on one myself, but you had already did it. So I was like, well, why reinvent the wheel? It's you know what I'm saying?
I certainly didn't.
Yeah. Well, guess what the name of this one is? It is called the Cash to Crypto Society.
Perfect, man. That's a good name.
So you guys that are new to crypto that want to get involved, you can go there. Just reach out to me, Dan at UncleDanConsulting.com. I'll give you access how you can get to that. That has all of these videos for beginners that'll take you. And guess what? Most of all, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
So it teaches you how to set up your accounts, what to do, what not to do, all the different exchanges, all the different wallets that you can navigate through with your crypto. But again, the more important thing is to make sure that you can do it safely. It goes all through that whole steps, A through Z. So make sure you reach out to me if you are thinking about getting into crypto, because if you've been listening to what Brett has been saying, I'm just, for those of us, some people we've been hodling for a while or holding for a while. I tell you, things are about to change for the positive. So again, this is some really good information that he was just giving you. What else you got, Brett? We good? Or what else we got?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to mention too. So Argentina. Did you see Argentina elected a new president?
Yeah, I've been hearing things about him. What's up with him?
Man, if you get a chance to watch any of his interviews that he's given lately in the past couple of weeks since he's won, man, I tell you what, that guy, he's a damn leader, man. I mean, just so people have context, Argentina's money in the past 5 years has depreciated 500,000%.
Yep.
You heard that correctly. 500,000%. It's decreased in the last 5 years. And so their president is a very, very fiscal conservative. And he said, you know what, man? We're going to put it on the books to develop the framework to make Bitcoin our legal tender. And one aspect is like when your government money is depreciating 500,000%, what do you have to lose?
Nothing.
Right? But this is just another sign, like El Salvador a couple years ago that made it their legal tender. Like, right. When you go listen to Argentina's president, he's basically saying that the central bank is a scam for the people. And if you really care about your people as a government, you wouldn't set them up into a winless scam trap like the way money. Because people are like, well, how does Bitcoin have?
We're having some reception issues here.
What's it backed by? What's American dollar backed by? And
right.
Personally, the only thing we're backed by is our military.
That's about it.
We're backed by gold. Like 1971, we went off the gold standard. Every country since. This is the first time in the history of the world since gold has been around and been a store of value that every country in the world, that any country, let alone every country in the world, is not backed by gold. We're not backed by anything, man. We just print more money. So if you're all right with that and you see nothing wrong with that, but you got a problem with Bitcoin, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, so let's go with the premise that they're both backed by nothing. Bitcoin, at least, is computer code that ensures the principle of hard money, which is it's super hard to produce and it's very expensive to produce. If you can just hit the printer button and it's cheap and free in a sense, what's that worth anything? It's not. The whole point of why gold was a store of value was because it's hard to produce and it's expensive to produce. So there's not a lot of it. Therefore, that's the store of value. So those are the same principles that Bitcoin had, but it's in computer code.
Well, wow. So that's an education right there, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been hearing about the president of Argentina, and I looked at something yesterday about that, and Brett just made the whole situation down there clear. This is going to start. I think this is going to start happening worldwide. So as the currencies and these companies or countries just start to kind of like implode, it's going to be some rough times out there, by the way, but then it's going to be better times in the end, hopefully. So
just go and look up how central banks work.
Yep.
Like, instead of trying to figure out the technology behind Bitcoin, spend that time learning how central banks work. And that'll lead you to, there's got to be something better, which will then lead you to Bitcoin.
There you go. There we go. All right. Well, hey, man, I got to rock and roll. I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I'm going to reach out to you, too, because I do want to still reach out to somebody at the board. So let's catch up.
I've literally just been in meetings all morning. But
I know it.
So.
Okay. Anyway, Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending. We'll be back here in another 2 weeks, but thank those in the productions at PR Connections Radio for having us as your host. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. And we'll be back live in 2 weeks on the Monday after next. Everybody have a blessed day. Thanks. Talk to you later, Brett.
Talk later. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.
We're still in the show.